Welcome to Future Voices by Katherine Lu. Hi, I'm Katherine Lu, and today for our spotlight speaker, we have Leslie Chu. She's been working at Deloitte in strategy and AI and business transformations, helping organizations turn AI into measurable impact. So, hi Leslie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Catherine.
You've had a really strong journey within Deloitte, especially going from a consultant to a senior manager in the AI space. What do you think has shaped your career most during that progression?
I think I've been mostly very lucky. When I joined the profession, I just happened to join in a stage where big data and analytics were very hot topics. And I happened to have a degree in analytics, trying to catch that train as well. So after I joined, most of what I did at that time was a lot of data strategy, analytics strategy, and until more recent years, all of a sudden, Gen AI and agentic AI became the next hot, transformation factors. So consulting mainly is a business that follows the force of transformation, right? Like however organizations are facing the next tranche of changes, that's when they need consultants. And I've been just like really lucky at having caught up with a series of, I would say, changes in the industry and as well as demand for my expertise. And I had the luck to kind of shape my journey and shape my expertise along the way. And then I think internal factor, so like forget about the external things, internal factor, I really enjoy being in consulting, gives me that platform to think very deeply about all kinds of intellectually curious topics you want to explore, right? Every client challenge is a fresh topic for you to think through. It's like a brain puzzle. It fuels my overthinking habits in an unhealthy way, right? So it's like you're a deep thinker already, but consulting gives you that platform that actually rewards you for deep thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that these two factors added together has given me a lot of depth as well as speed in my growth overall in this career. So leading to me to now where I am and a lot of the new things, and still industry is only starting to see the true force of AI. There's much to do, much to implement, much to transform. So I'm really happy about where we are and super excited about where this whole thing will lead to and my journey along with it.
Nice. Okay. So was there a project, like do you think there was a particular project that might have shaped your journey?
Oh, many. I think each project means a little bit different things. I do mainly two things. One is I do strategy types of projects where you're basically imagining the future of an organization. In this case, the future of AI, future of data, with the executives. Second thing is you're actually hands-on delivering the transformation, which is you're implementing use cases, right? You're building applications that leverages AI and analytics. I think both of them kind of shape you in kind of different ways.
Yeah.
In strategy engagements, it gives you that very senior exposure. You get to actually hear firsthand about what the C-suites are thinking, what the board is thinking, what do the decision makers every day worry about. It gives you that altitude of thinking that powers you to extract yourself from the day to day, and it forces you to think as if you're kind of owning a company, right? So that shapes you in a very unique way. But I also really enjoy the delivering value part where you actually see the power of a transformation. You get to deploy something in production. It's one of the voice bots we built right now is taking calls from patients to a medical company. And it's like kind of answering questions, giving you status of your order. It's super powerful once you see something coming to life. And especially if you have built that together with a team where you work together, it's a different sense of achievement. So I think both give you a different taste of the joy in the journey.
Yeah. That's incredible. So I know many of your most recent work includes focusing on large organizations and moving beyond experimenting with AI, but actually like scaling it.
Yep.
So, in your perspective, what was the biggest difference using like AI successfully versus adopting AI just because it was this urgent evolving technology in this world?
I think most organizations, when they start to think about AI, it was, to your point, it was a sense of urgency. Nobody from day one, unless you're the frontier labs, have thought about AI being a part of their business, right? Like everyone's mostly more or less reactive. The difference is, since you know this piece of technology is coming, number one, to a decision maker in a company, are you bought in its potential? Some people believe AI will transform, let's say, 20% of the business. Other people believe it will be changing up to 80-90%. How much you believe gives you that lever in how much you actually unlock. It's like the not the cost determine the result, is the result kind of determining the cost, right? How much you can dream is how much you can draw in the blueprint. That's first. And secondly is, let's say you're able to recognize the big potential AI is about to bring to you. Do you have a strategic plan that gives you that, okay, exactly where in your business is it maximizing its value? I can say that, for example, every single bank right now is thinking about contact center use cases, which is, everyone knows you need to automate calls, you need to automate this and that, right? But the deeper way to think about AI as a change agent is, I do believe each organization is like a person. Each person has different personality.
Yeah.
Right? Their DNA and their genes and their footprint are all a little bit different, how they make choices. So AI is like one of those things, is like you try a dress on. Each dress looks different and suits different people differently. So I'm a firm believer that a good AI strategy should be tailored and be a little bit different to each organization. And so your AI potential may not be the exact same as someone else's AI potential. So that's all to say that your how big you dream and how tailored your dream is to who you are is a big decision factor. And then secondly is just like execution. How much are you able to actually drive to that result? And that a lot is dependent on expertise. That's where kind of consulting services come in, because clients are always doing it for the first time. But for a consultancy, we've done it repeatedly, right? So we all oftentimes advise our clients on, okay, we've seen this, avoid these kind of things, or we'll help you deliver value this way. So that complements the how to get there piece. So both coming together is, like, I would say, a fulsome AI transformation altogether.
Yeah, definitely with the first like instinct of, if you see AI, you like have that drive of implementing AI into your like projects or whatever you're doing. And like whichever companies are doing that and whichever adapt to that faster is pretty much where like they can start growing from that, right?
Pretty much, because AI is very different from if you think about other systems, say like a ServiceNow. I don't know if you know what, but like it's just like typical software are all kind of shaped in a way until now. AI is a lot of times what we call like kind of a singularity moment, right? Which is, you can't really anticipate what it could do, which is the exact beauty of it. Everything is like up for grabs. So how much can you imagine? And the technology is, as we speak, continuously evolving. It's actually a really amazing challenge for a decision maker, as in, like, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to wait? Are you going to do something? If you're going to do something, are you okay with the potential that in a year what you do might be obsolete, right? So it's a constant changing, kind of almost like a board game for you to strategize. So that's like really fascinating, even as a person who are participating from kind of outside the organizations, advising, like it energizes me as well, knowing that there's no playbook in the field. You're kind of making the history as you go. And if you're only limiting your client's imagination to a certain degree, that's probably as far as they will go, right? So that's how the system plays together.
There's a lot of like risk taking, especially because like AI keeps on changing in so many different ways, and how you choose to use it and how you choose to like implement it can totally change like the way you're moving.
Yeah, exactly. But it's also calculated risk taking in a way that many people feel like, oh, AI will hallucinate, so I kind of don't want it's in my most critical decision processes, right? But if you really get into the technical details, there are many ways to mitigate it. You know, we use some techniques to kind of fine-tune the model where you can guarantee a much higher percentage of accuracy, or to a point that AI can process payments without a human, right? Like I can determine if you need to be compensated to a certain degree without human. So that's all feasible. But like to an outsider person who don't understand the technology too much and kind of fearful for its risks, exactly to your point, they may be kind of limited in their ability to grasp the potential of it. So a lot of critical factors need to come together for a successful AI transformation in my mind. Yeah.
Especially like where you talked about before within like experience, you definitely need to have like experience to then decide to like which path you want to take and which way you want to go.
Yeah, pretty much.
So my next question actually kind of ties into this. So agentic AI is becoming a lot bigger, and I know you have a couple projects on that. What makes it different? Like, what makes this phase different than from the earlier phases of generative AI, especially AI tools that many organizations have adopted to?
Yeah, so if you think about when generative AI began, it was kind of it's generative, right? Like it generates language, it generates pictures sometimes. Most of the application were just text generation. I want you to help me write a letter, generate a talking points to my customer. Those are the typical use cases. Later on, agentic, the big difference is now you're able to execute, right? So you're able to, through a bunch of APIs and tool calls, you're able to manipulate the systems to, you know, write things back, make decisions, processing payments, all these kind of things. So the big difference is Gen AI is like you have a brain, but you can't do things. You still have to, you know, wait for others for the humans to do things. Agentic right now is showing potentials to kind of completely automating an end-to-end business process or a whole business area. Right, so the types of applications we're right now imagining are, you know, how about we make a whole area of this business purely agentic, or things like that, which requires a system to like collectively orchestrate and decision making, a lot of acting factors. So it unlocks much more potential once you're able to do things. And it also helps you kind of rethink the whole business model a bit more. Traditionally, you think about a company as, oh, there's people and there's like processes, there's technology, right? Now it's like the people line is very blurred because there are people and there are agents.
Yeah.
Right? How do you think of that? And so your overall, like, the philosophy of how to think about a business and run a company is being kind of shaken up. I think we're still at the very, very early stage of it because most of what we are doing right now are single applications, right? Oh, I put this use case in, I'm able to realize it 10%, 20% efficiency on this one. But once this whole thing starts connecting together, you'll be able to see a brand new kind of business model coming up where AI is blending as like part of your critical enabler across all things you do.
What has Deloitte been implementing AI in? Or like what is your first project that Deloitte has worked on in AI?
Deloitte has been doing AI for a long time, going before even the Gen AI phase, right? So the traditional, what we say, machine learning.
How early?
I think we started having an AI practice probably 8-9 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but like that's not Gen AI. That's traditional machine learning, right? Machine learning is you use data to predict data, right? Yeah, you kind of train the model using some training data, and the model tells you the predictive result of the next training round.
Yeah.
So that's mostly applicable in, you know, risk scoring, like how risky your profile is, credit scoring, these kind of things, or customer behavior prediction, next best offer. So the areas of applications are actually narrower because you need data. That's where you use like like digits of data to train a model, and it pumps out digits of data, right? So it requires you to have very finely comb through kind of and clean data, and a narrow application where you using data to predict data. And all of a sudden, Gen AI came about, a few years back. All of a sudden, your input and output form becomes free form.
Yeah.
Right. All of a sudden, it can read images, text, whatever it is. You can dump a bunch of unstructured data in, whatever is in your life. It's just able to kind of imagine and reason it through. So that's why the whole application suddenly widened.
Yeah.
So that's the transition.
Wow. So we're kind of taking a shift in our conversation for the next generation, entering this field, particularly AI or technology.
Right.
What skill or mindset do you think it's very important for them to have as AI keeps on reshaping these industries?
I'm gonna say something that's probably cliche, which is you need to be able to work with AI.
Yeah.
I have found that how do I put it? I'm having a lot of junior staff on my projects right now. They've freshly joined the workforce, etc. I found how let's say the younger generation, not to say I'm old, but like the younger generation think is actually refreshing, right? Like, because they're not constrained or trained in a traditional way. When you've worked in a workforce for many years, you become lazy. You don't want to change. You're like, oh, I'm used to writing by hand, right? Versus the younger folks, like sometimes laziness is a virtue. So you want to outsource as much things as possible.
So you find shortcuts.
In a way, right? Like, why can't we use AI to do this or do that? So I think that's like basic capability, because it's the speed of what we see AI as replacing kind of human labor is only going to go up like more and more.
Yeah.
And with the model capability growing every generation of the models, like months, what I remember like 2 years ago we thought was quite impossible now is like, oh, AI can build a whole presentation for you.
Yeah.
Why do you then need junior staff, right? Like, at some point people will start to think about these things drastically. So at that point you want to be on the other side of the equation, where it's like I can use AI not being replaced by AI. That's one. But secondly, I also think it's going to be quite important for you to have a, how do I put it, system thinking or engineering thinking, which is you take a problem or you take an existing system, you just want to kind of optimize it or update it with AI. So you're a bit of like a challenging existing ways of working, at least in the next number of years, right? So you don't want to be confined. It's similar to the first point, where it's like you come to an existing process of how things are done, or existing way of how team is run. You want to wear that mindset of, why do we have to do it this way? And you want to be able to not having to depend on big bulky tools and dependency on other people, but you can rapidly prototype something to demonstrate, see, we can do this thing for much cheaper, much easier, like with this AI application. So the like hands-on building something, that capability to demonstrate that something can be much simpler, is very valuable, especially for a younger generation, because you come into the workforce or whatever it is that you're working on with fresh mindset, and you actually have a huge advantage in challenging the status quo. And to do that, you want to not having to wait until other people's permission. You want to be able to quickly say, okay, I used Claude, and this is like a new way of doing this thing. Previously, it would take 10 days. Now it's like 5 days. You want to be able to prove your point quite quickly, right? So that's where the younger generation has a lot of advantage over people who have already been working for, let's say, 6-7 years.
I think a lot of creativity and, like, especially fresh minds. Like, I think there's a lot more opportunities for, like, new ideas.
Right.
And because there's a lot of experimentation right now within the AI tools, it's a lot easier to, like, have so many ways to solve a problem now.
Exactly. And now you don't even need to code. There's Claude code, there's everything, right? So it lowers the barrier for you to be experimenting with ideas. Yeah.
But I also think there's a large gap between, like, how students our age especially are using AI.
Mm.
Like, whether it's using it like to do a school project or using it to like leverage and do research for a school project. And I think something that's really important is that our generation has to start learning how to like actually use it to our advantage in the like in the workforce. Like, how can we start like learning how to use this in the future, not just for our benefit to do something quickly and do something simple.
That's fair. That's probably a lot of the, I don't know if it's extracurricular or things like case competitions or things like that, right? Like, you're basically you want to be able to have the exposure where you're taking a real life problem and try to AI it.
Yeah.
And that kind of part of your brain or your brain muscle, the more it's exercised, the more you're trained on thinking and behaving that way. I think it's quite valuable.
Yeah, and I think there's definitely pros and cons, especially to generative AI in general. Like, there's the factor where you use it to make your life so much simpler, but then there's also the factor where when you're doing this, it's like, are you helping yourself? You're not really giving yourself enough knowledge to like actually take time and learn about this by yourself. You're just getting AI to kind of do it for you. That's like the pros and cons.
Yeah, I think it depends on how you use it. It's like any tool, right? Like, I find that personally, I very much depend on AI. And I don't think AI makes me lazy, but AI helps me understand how I think.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's the different questions you ask. Previously, Google just gives you generic answers. Now AI can think with you. It's like having a debate partner all the time.
Yeah.
So I actually realized, like, just personal experience, I've understood about myself so much more that I now can balance everything with AI. So I think it just really is like, if you're using it for one purpose or another, it just amplifies however you already think about things, probably.
Yeah, even me too. I feel like I'm using it so much more, but there's like a lot of good things that come with it because it does help me learn so much more from all of the information it gathers together.
Exactly.
Unlike Google, where it's just one answer.
Right.
ChatGPT has so many answers. Gemini has so many answers.
Right.
Like, there's a lot more open-ended areas where you can kind of look into more.
Yeah, it lowers the barrier for a lot of things, I would say. Like, just previously, let's say you want to start working out, you're obviously just like sticking with some pre-built plans online somewhere, someone else, unless you find a personal trainer, right? Now it's like, oh, I enter my, like, this is my basic data, this is my goal. I want to be, I don't know, a rock climber or some really random thing, right? And I want to be able to do this, and like in 3 months. Like, here's a completely tailored thing where you couldn't ever find it previously in a Google world. So I think it lowers the barrier. If you're a kind of person that has a lot of hobbies, curiosity, or want to try different things, that aspect I find is like super, super helpful.
Yeah, definitely. I think so too. But especially like, because it keeps on evolving, there's so many things that you cannot expect. Like, especially right now, there's those videos you can generate, and like, I would have not thought that that was possible if you asked me 2 years ago. Like, it's really opening a new future for us.
That's true. Videos, and previously we're stuck with like poor quality photos. Now we're like onto the video phase, right?
Thank you so much for all of your experience. You've definitely inspired some of the next generation. And thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned for our next episode.
Thank you.
Bye.